Now, in the end, I'm glad that the PGA Tour wound up doing what they did because I wanted something like LIV to come about. I wanted PGL prior to that. I wanted LIV Golf to get off the ground because I felt like teams in golf was like such an important thing, and it's the primary reason why I love LIV Golf the way that I do, because I feel like it's this completely different way of consuming golf, consuming professional golf. They're able to live as a whole they're able to compete with the PGA Tour for talent, and because of that, you're raising the bar of both organizations. Where, if the PGA Tour wants to keep their talent, they have to up the purses. If LIV Golf wants to get more players from the PGA Tour or from the European Tour, DP World Tour, they've got to pay to bring those players over. That's how the last 3 years has worked, because there's this ongoing division in pro golf. I still think that LIV needs to pay a little bit extra to attract more of those players from the PGA Tour and bring them over to the LIV Golf this offseason. That is still TBD. We'll see what happens with that. However, it's something that they absolutely need to do, and I think most people at LIV know that. So, LIV Golf not only is sort of raising the bar for professional golfers, it's also raising the bar for the consumers of golf, the TV audience, where, let's be honest, the PGA Tour's product, in terms of the just over commercialization of virtually all of their events, that's turned off a lot of fans to their TV broadcasts, particularly me. So when LIV Golf came up with first YouTube, and then they came up with their own app, LIV Golf Plus, that was commercial free, where you could watch the entire broadcast uninterrupted without commercials. That was really appealing to me because, one, you're going to see way more golf shots. Two, the broadcast is going to flow with no interruptions. And then three, a really important part of that broadcast product is the any shot, anytime part of the app, where any player that's on LIV, every single shot that they take on LIV Golf is filmed, and you can access any of these shots through the app. It's a total game changer. It's what the Masters has been doing now for a few years. So this isn't like the first time this has ever happened. However, this is the first time any tour or league has done this. And again, when you have 48 and now 54 players, it's a lot easier to grab the content of those players and sort of consolidate that in an app. It's changed the game for golf coaching too. Now, golf coaches are not reliant on watching their players on the broadcast. They could actually look in the app, see them hit every single shot, check out, they could go through every round and sort of talk through the decisions that they made, and like all of the nuances around golf, around like, conditions, and were you in your process, and what are you doing in preparation for the shot? What are you seeing over the shot? What are you seeing during the shot? And what are you thinking about after? You're actually able to experience every single one of those shots with your player. It's a game changer. And it's something that the PGA Tour needs to do. They've been needing to do it for a while. I think that they will. It's going to be much harder for them to do it, particularly with some of these larger fields that have 100, 144 players. It's going to be harder for them to do it. I still think that they can do it. If the Masters can do it for 90 to 100 players, I'm sure they can figure out a way to do it too. Make us pay for it. Make the fans pay for this commercial-free product, just like LIV does now. LIV has us pay $60 for an entire year of golf content. More than worth it. I mean, we're talking about $4 an event. It's a no-brainer for someone like me that just like wants to see uninterrupted golf, wants to have access to any shot, anytime, rather than trying to follow players on Shot Tracker, which is ridiculous. So LIV is raising the bar for all professional golf tours, because they're well financed. They're able to sort of make these changes. They're able to make a lot of changes on the fly. They also listen to the players. In the event the players want to make changes to locations, format, whatever it is. There's a lot of things that the players want to be more in control of. LIV allows those guys, they have their own competition committee where they can change things. They can set up golf courses to be tougher, to make them easier, whatever it is. Usually it's to make them tougher because they want to prepare for the majors and all that. So there's just so much more that LIV can do because it's a smaller product. They have a smaller footprint when it comes to the number of players that have input. Because we're mostly talking about the captains, the sort of equity captains that have a stake in it. So guys like Phil and Bryson and Brooks and Sergio and all those guys, Cam Smith, they all have, they're all part of the brain trust, really, where, if they want to see something change and they have a majority, they're going to go to the CEO, previously Greg Norman, now Scott O'Neill, and change it. I know getting official world golf ranking points to them is like really, really important. And there's things that they need to change in order to do that. Those are the things that are going to likely get changed. So that includes having a more robust promotions event that allows more players to try to qualify into LIV. That includes having more players from the Asian Tour International Series qualify into LIV. That also includes, if they're going to handpick players, they have to meet a certain criteria across tours, whether that be based off of official world golf ranking, whether that be where they're ranked on their respective tour, how many wins they have, if they've won on that tour, if they participated in a Ryder Cup. All of these things that are like criteria to get into a lot of the major championships. LIV is going to adopt some of those to give them a minimum criteria because the biggest complaint has been LIV has been a closed shop. They want to work with the OWGR to fix that so that they're eligible for official world golf ranking points. Now, some of the other changes might be they go to a larger field, which is certainly possible. We've been talking about LIV going from 54 to 60 players for a long time. That's on the table, and I think that'll 100% happen before the 2027 season. They're also talking about maybe going from 3 to 4 rounds, maybe not in every event, maybe in a selected amount of events, because that would potentially give them access to more official world golf ranking points in those events. So I think that those are all really important things that they're considering. None of this has been decided 100%. However, I think that these are things that like LIV needs to do in order to attract more talent, because let's be honest, the name of the game at this point is attracting talent on these tours. There's certain players that LIV is going to appeal to more than others. The guaranteed money is certainly going to be part of that. Having access to official world golf ranking points is a huge part of it too, because that also opens up the door to more major access for these players. And a lot of these players want OWGR points. It was part of the discussion for a lot of these players before they came over to LIV. A lot of them, it was part of the decision making process that it was never promised to them, because they knew this was going to be kind of a long-term thing that they tried to pursue, and there was going to be some iterations of it. Except everybody at LIV knows that this is important to these guys. They're going to do whatever it takes, to borrow Jay Monahan's quote, whatever it takes to to get official world golf ranking points. And I know they're trying to coordinate that, and we'll have to see what comes with that. My prediction is that they're able to work something out so that prior to the start of the 2026 LIV golf season, they are awarded conditional OWGR points, and that is based off of LIV meeting certain criteria, that if they do not meet that criteria for whatever reason, they get their points stripped. That's what I think is going to happen. Hopefully it happens sooner than later, because there's a lot of dominoes that are going to fall after that. So we'll see what happens there. But this has been it's been a saga that's been ongoing for such a long time. And for the longest time, I wanted LIV and the PGA Tour to merge, because I thought that's what was best for pro golf. I no longer think that. I think that the best thing for pro golf is you need to have two competing entities basically that are going to drive innovation, because that's the whole reason why the PGA Tour got so stagnant, is because they really didn't have any competition to drive them forward. They were pretty much the only game in town when it came to earning the most amount of money that you could playing professional golf, having access to the most amount of official world golf ranking points, qualifying for the majors, being able to earn as much money as possible. The whole game was on the PGA Tour, and everybody knew that. Now, with LIV Golf and the Asian Tour, and eventually, hopefully, the European Tour being part of this sort of global series, which could be really, really cool, because one of the other things that I think is a huge advantage LIV has, and one of the reasons why I like LIV more than the PGA Tour, a lot of those courses on the PGA Tour, they got, number one, they're really uninteresting. Like, there's just a lot of American golf courses that are just not that interesting. Let's just call a spade a spade. A lot of these courses we've seen now for 10, 20, 30 years. The Memorial kind of is what it is. Like, it's something that's not that appealing to me anymore. It's just not. So, and LIV allows us to go to all these cool places that, like, it's a totally different golf experience. Like Hong Kong Golf Club is a great example of that, of where it's a shorter course, except it requires so much strategy off of the tee, smaller greens. It's like a totally different golf experience, where it doesn't necessarily reward being long off the tee the way most PGA Tour courses do, where it's like, it's basically bomb and gouge, and the whole thing is just try to hit it as far as possible. And to me, that's just not really that interesting. Like, it's fine to get that every now and then. Like, I don't want every event like that, because that's just kind of how American golf is. Like, it is what it is. And I think if we go to all of these places throughout the world that have different style of golf courses, and like, you play it differently, and there's different types of grasses, and there's like all these like nuanced things that are different in other parts of the world, and we get to see a lot of these golf courses for the first, second, third time. I just think, to me personally, that's just way more appealing than watching the same old run of the mill PGA Tour courses that I've seen for decades, basically my entire adult life. Again, that's more of a personal preference. That's like, look, if you like, and I love, don't get me wrong, there's like 5 or 6 courses on the PGA Tour that I absolutely love. Pebble Beach, I love. Riviera, I love. Even Torrey Pines, that gets a bad rap. I love Torrey Pines for a variety of reasons. And I like, Harbor Town's another one that's kind of an interesting course. So they have enough courses where it's like, it keeps my interest for a few events. But let's be honest, most of those courses, like, all the TPCs can sort of go kick rocks. Like, I'm just not that interested. Like, it doesn't appeal to me the way a course like Valderrama does, which is one that they play on LIV Golf, or the way JCB does, which is in the UK, or the way Hong Kong Golf Club that I talked about earlier does. So there's like a variety, and there's Chapultepec also, where they play in Mexico City, is a really interesting course. There's a few courses LIV plays that are just not that interesting to me as well, but is what it is. So there's always going to be courses that you don't like. However, LIV has a larger percentage of courses that I like compared to the PGA Tour. So the most important thing is that we have these two entities that are willing to sort of drive professional golf and the professional golf tours. They're able to compete and provide the best product, compete for talent, compete for the largest prize money. And eventually, I do think that there is going to be some level of crossover between the LIV, Asian Tour, and maybe European Tour side, and the PGA Tour and Korn Ferry side, because it's just the thing that makes the most amount of sense. And now that we have the sort of old leadership that sort of drove all the division early on, guys that I talked about, Jay Monahan's no longer leading the PGA Tour. It's now Brian Rolapp, who's the new CEO of the PGA Tour, who came over from the NFL. Ed Herlihy, who was one that I mentioned, who was the chairman of the PGA Tour board. He's no longer part of the PGA Tour. A lot of the senior leadership team is sort of getting rooted out to people like Allison Keller, Rick Anderson, who have been with the PGA Tour for decades. Those are folks that I mean, whenever it comes to the division that happened driven by the PGA Tour, all of the senior leaders played some part in it. Let's just call it what it is. Even if they didn't love going along with it, it's like you could have resigned, but like obviously you weren't going to leave those paychecks behind. So it is what it is. I am way more optimistic, though, I will say, about the future of the PGA Tour now than it was previously. And the main reason for that is the leadership turnover that they've had, because that culture that I've talked about, that culture of, it's really bully culture, let's be honest. Like when you're going on TV and saying those things and coming up with these memos to try to to downplay LIV, like all that stuff needed to go away eventually. And I hope that Brian Rowlap has gone to everybody in and around the PGA Tour, all those people that Jay Monahan was trying to corrupt. I hope that Brian Rowlap has gone to them to say, hey, you guys need to stand down. We are going to be working with LIV in some capacity in the future to build a bigger, much, much better golf product. And again, these are going to be separate entities. However, there's going to be some level of crossover and working in concert. So I hope that he's done that. I do think that eventually the culture of the PGA Tour is going to change, because not only with Brian Rowlap coming in, but also Strategic Sports Group that's invested a lot of money into the PGA Tour. They're already in the process of remaking it. There's going to be just a lot to come. It's a really exciting time to be a golf fan, and I know a lot of golf fans have been very frustrated in the short term because they feel like the products have been diluted a little bit. But I mean, which is true. I mean, particularly when you had the PGA Tour that was based here in the United States, that basically had the largest concentration of talent. Except I think a lot of the American golf fans, you really need to be less selfish in this. It's not just about you, it's about the entire world of professional golf. And there's been a lot of places around the world that have been starved of top quality talent, star players going to their golf tournaments, their golf courses. And that's, I mean, a huge, huge part of the reason why LIV has come about. And I think that it's something that everybody needs to keep that in mind. Golf is a global game. This is something that I will tell as many people as will listen, because when golf is, professional golf in particular, is broadcast as a global game, and you go to all these cool places throughout the world that can really stimulate interest, like that's really a rising tide floats all boats. Like that's something that's going to engage fans in so many different markets. We're going to be able to see great golf throughout the world. It's really exciting, especially for someone who was jaded like I was about the PGA Tour. And we're going to have a little bit more division, but I think in the long term, there is going to be some level of crossover, some level of collaboration. That's something that we're all going to look forward to in the future. I have way more faith in the leadership of professional golf now than I did before. There's still a few people that we probably need to root out that have kind of been behind the scenes, encouraging some division. Shout out Fred Ridley, the chairman of Augusta National, who basically threatened lifetime bans for the players that were considering going to LIV Golf. That was another thing that came out in the court documents that wasn't really broadcast all that publicly. I may have to do a part 2 on this, sort of talk about the American golf establishment, because I already realize I'm almost at an hour. So anyway, I'm going to cut it now. I want to reiterate, LIV Golf, I think, is one of the best things for all golf fans throughout the world, and also the professional golfers. There's never been more opportunities for professional golfers than what you have now. You have so many different options in terms of tours that you can play on, like not only LIV in the PGA Tour, but also, you know, the European Tour has never been more lucrative. The Asian Tour has never been more lucrative. Like there's so many routes that you could take. You could play a really good schedule and play throughout the world and make a lot of money. So It's great for the players. I think for the fans, we get more. We're going to get the diversity we want. There's going to be more competition in the space. It's going to drive innovation. Give it another couple years, but you're going to start seeing it. Like, every fan wants more match play events. I think we're going to get those eventually over the course of time. We want to go to different new and exciting courses that we don't see nearly enough, particularly here in the United States, that have been sort of closed off to professional golf. I get the feeling that like some of those courses may start coming into the purview that like want to host maybe some of these crossover events, these really big global events here in the United States. So again, that's mostly speculation, but like when you start thinking of stuff through, there's so many possibilities, and it's really exciting for all golf fans. So yeah, again, I love what LIV Golf has done. I love the LIV Golf product. They still have some improvements to make. I'll be totally honest, and it's something that we talk about on the podcast all the time. And if you have any suggestions for different things LIV can do to improve their product, I already know that you want more players from the PGA Tour to come over to LIV. You don't have to give me that suggestion. I know it. My co-hosts know it. Everybody at LIV knows that too. So I think that's certainly an important thing. However, if you have any other things when it comes to the fan experience, whatever it is, feel free to leave a comment, leave a suggestion, send me a message, whatever it is. I think that will cover it for now. Shout out to my co-hosts for allowing me to do this solo podcast. We will be back soon to talk more about LIV Golf, everything going on with our promotions event, the international series on the Asian Tour, new players coming in, OWGR, all that stuff we're going to talk a lot about over the next few months. So stay patient, hang with us, and I'll talk to you soon.